Boy, oh boy, where do I begin with Black Clover chapters 205 and 206? Because to be honest with you, 205, no real big complaints. But there is something that I'm not gonna lie, and y'all know I love me some Black Clover, but I gotta keep it honest because this is a review. There was something in the end of this chapter that is starting to make me feel a little bit like, oh, Black Clover, we was on a roll, and maybe it's just me, but let's talk.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
So Black Clover chapter 205, fire as usual. I mean, at the end of the day, we've been waiting how freaking long, 200 plus chapters to see the full-on fight, which I'm glad, because a lot of authors, they'll show and tease a fight and we'll never actually get to see it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of series that do that, and that's really disappointing. So the fact that we've had this fight, which the anime hypes it every single freaking episode of, this big monstrosity that fights the first Wizard King, and it's very reminiscent, the whole style. This is why people were saying Black Clover was a Naruto copycat in the beginning, because it felt like Minato versus Kurama. So a lot of controversy around that, and we finally get to see the full-on fight. We get the reasoning. Of course, we know that basically Licht was the one that was that demon. And I'll be honest with you, my thoughts, there's a lot of thoughts that I have about this, because with everything that's been going on, it really feels like, unless we're exploring more of the demon world and stuff like that, Black Clover really has tied a lot of loose ends, and there's been so much progression with Yuno and Asta to the point where I'm kind of like, how much further can we go? Because, okay, they're little kids at the end of the day. Well, not little kids, but they're young. They're what, 15, 16? And if they're at this point already getting to the point of how they're taking out very credible foes, then that means that they're advancing very quickly. This isn't going to be like, how in Naruto Part 1 ended, Naruto and Sasuke, Kakashi could still swing them around and stuff like that. Asta, they swing, they're doing the swinging, okay? They're the ones that are kicking ass. So it's very interesting to see that. It could feel like maybe Tabatsu's ready. Maybe Tabatsu's ready, like, yo, if they want to cancel me, then I'm wrapping everything up, because a lot of loose ends being tied, especially with 205 getting the history of 500 years ago. And it's something that I really wanted to talk about, because credit has to be where it's due, right? And, again, we're going to get to the stuff that I had that was problematic issues with the latest chapter, but for now, I got to give credit where it's due. Because Sekirei, however you want to call her, or Nero, which I'm going to stick with, Nero, I feel as though is very, very... she doesn't get the credit she deserves, shall I say, because she was very vital in the taking down of this demon Licht. When Licht went into that form, whatever, she did a lot. In fact, throughout this whole story, if we think about it, she was, remorseful, saying it was because of her creating those gems, and that's what led to this. So she really doesn't get, she's an unsung hero, and I'm really interested to see moving forward what Nero's going to be doing, because she's very powerful, and if she stays in this human form, basically rocking with Asta, it's kind of like a cheat code. But then again, there's cheat codes, and again, I don't want to start getting in a roll on some rant shit. We'll save that in a minute. But yeah, love the dynamic again in 205 of Lumiere, aka the first Wizard King, versus Licht, and him basically vowing to not allow Licht to be a murderer in a sense, and him trying to stop him. And then of course 206 really wrapped it up nicely with the emotional aspect of it, but it definitely showed that not only was this a really awesome looking fight, because the art was top of the line, this needed to be top of the line, this was a very, very important plot device, or not plot device, plot point for Black Clover. Again, this was like the origins of everything. Essentially, you could argue that this is like, okay, the pain, this is where Naruto was in the pain arc, and we're just doing a lot of quicker. And of course, I'm not trying to compare the two arcs. Pain arc is a legendary arc. No, not doing that. But I'm just saying that that's probably where advancement wise we are with Black Clover. And going back to how much Nero doesn't get the credit she deserves, if you think about it, it was because of her sealing the devil away that they had this time of peace and all of this, because it was Nero's seal that kept him at bay all this time, and stopped him from getting the true grimoire and doing a lot of different things. Well, I mean, I guess he slipped away in the end, but regardless of what, Nero, again, they give a lot of praise, even the anime and the story in general, to the first Wizard King. But the true unsung hero is the woman that stood by his side and did a lot of things to help stop this demon and ended up becoming a bird in the process, 500 years ago. Shout outs to Nero, bro. I'm really digging Nero. I know the ships out there right now is like Asta Mimosa, Asta Noel, no Noel's final girl, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. I gotta give credit where it's due. I'm digging me some Nero. That's a ride or die. How she freaking waited 500 years for the Wizard King's return, in a sense, and watching over the Grimoire and stuff, like that's a keeper, baby. Okay, so shout outs to Nero again. Definitely hope that she gets more praise and gets mentioned in the history books, because it's like she's an unsung hero. She was there when the first Wizard King was fighting against Lit, which again, it was an incredible battle. It wasn't like, I'm not gonna say it was, I've never seen anything like it, but at the very least, the art panels was nice. It was pretty much what we expected as a big giant demon. There's not too much you could do combat wise, but just seeing Lit using these different spells, and again, Nero was very pivotal in that, and I'm wondering more where we're gonna go with Nero's character in the future, because very awesome character to say the least. Now, I believe it's 206, the latest chapter, maybe, forgive me if I'm mistaken, but Asta and Yuno finally meet the first Wizard King, because at the end of 205, I believe everybody finally arrives to fight the devil, or we got most of the key players. Obviously, some people aren't there, but Asta and Yuno, which everybody said, and this is one of the cruxes of this whole discussion in this video, because everybody said, okay, this is a Naruto copycat, the first Wizard King is going to be like Minato, essentially their father or something like that, and it still very well could happen, and I'm hoping that it doesn't, because to be honest with you, I'm liking the fact that right now the first Wizard King has no idea who these kids are. He's like, oh, who are you? You know what I'm saying? So possibly the lineage could be something along the lines of like, maybe again, he's their uncle or something like that. It'd be crazy again if their father is Lit. If their father is Lit and the first Wizard King's sister is their mother or something like that, that would be freaking insane. Or again, it could be that they're totally unrelated to all of this. And if it is, I think that would be the greatest way for Black Clover to say, ha! Y'all thought that this was a Minato clone, baby. Y'all thought y'all had me. Y'all thought y'all had me figured out. Y'all thought it was a ripoff, but no. And that would be the greatest. I'm not gonna lie. I want for, as the plot to, progress, for essentially them to say like, no, Asta's not related to this guy. Like, it makes it feel a little bit like, okay, this is a brand new thing. It's not just like, he was going to inherit this. It was destiny for him. You know what I mean? It gives him more of like, yo, Asta really did it all on his own, baby. This is Rock Lee as the main character. And if you think about it, honestly, again, this feels kind of like an endgamer, because we got some of the strongest people here on the battlefield. We got the first Wizard King Lumiere. We have Nero. We have Lit. The reunion between Lit and the first Wizard King. Again, I really wish the anime could be one of those things where I could say, oh, I can't wait for this to be animated, but we don't even know how they'll handle it. But man, and going back quickly to the meeting, I don't want to say reunion, because again, it seems like they don't know each other. None of them know either of them. It was interesting to see how Asta was just fanboying over the first Wizard King. I like that. It gives a little bit more, it feels like where the reader is essentially a part of the story, things like that, where Asta's just like, oh my god, I can't believe it, the first Wizard King, but what is he doing here? Why isn't he stoned? So funny little moments there. I like stuff like that. Again, it's engaging for us. And then a big thing, because Lit wasn't complete or whatever, he had a seal on him. Nero, again, very pivotal, unlocks the seal, and Lit gets to finally have that last word with the first Wizard King, and thank him for everything, and even gets to talk to Patri, which that was kind of interesting to see how he handled him, where he basically was like, nah, I've been watching you made a lot of mistakes, I can't rock with a lot of things, but don't worry, because I know you was doing this, you had good intentions, you was just misled. And that was very interesting as well. It was crazy seeing Patri cry, because Patri right now, Patri just, he has to die in this. Honestly, there's no redemption for him, unless they're going to just throw him in a cell and bring him back someday. I don't know. I just feel like Patri has to take that big L, because he's just done too much. It's kind of like Obito, you've done too much. There's no way, like, if they just say, don't worry about it, William Vengeance, come on, like, but then again, look at Naruto. Sasuke did do some crazy shit, and they pardoned him. Then, towards the end of the latest chapter, Lit and the first Wizard King basically start jumping the devil. And honestly, the devil is very fitting of his name, because he's acting very just straight up black and white villain of like, yo, well, not black and white, because there's a lot of mystique and a lot of interest, and I can't wait to find out more about him, where he's from, are there more people like him, what is his mission, why is he doing all this, why has he waited so long? Definitely, again, very inspired by the Black Zetsu. Come on, let's stop. But cool stuff there as well. Like, this is the creme de la creme, if you think about it. The first Wizard King being regarded as the strongest, in all of it, you know what I mean? Like, he was like how Minato was regarded, so we got him there. We have Lit, another one, potentially, who a lot of people are still writing on Asta and Yuno's father, because again, right now, look at it. Lumiere doesn't even know who Asta and Yuno are. And also, Lumiere was kind of young as well. So I like, again, if it goes the opposite direction. If it goes all the way Minato and all of that, I'm going to be like, yo, stop it. Get the Minato shit out of here, because I like that. They don't even know. It's a lot better that way. Black Clover, again, taking strides to use what it's had before with its predecessors, but again, create its own path. And honestly, this is where it's like, okay, because now if you made it to this point, you're like, okay, so what is your problem with the latest chapter? And I will say that it's something that it's been around for a while, so it's more of a nitpick, maybe, I'd argue. But it's the fact that at the end of the chapter, it seems as though Asta is able to go kind of toe-to-toe with the devil simply because, again, the cheat code of his anti-magic. And if that's the case, it's kind of going to get very redundant at this point, because you got to think about it. Asta is doing what Licht and the first Wizard King, with all their might, is trying to do to the devil and can't, and Asta is going to be able to do it. It feels like a cheat code, and it feels very cheap. Because these guys, the journey, you know, this is supposed to be the journey to getting to that point. If they're already there, then where do you go next? If Goku won the first World Martial Arts Tournament against Jackie Chun in Dragon Ball, why? You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering, is this series coming to an end and Tabata is just kind of talking? Because mangaka say things all the time. Kubo said he was going to go with Bleach for 10 more years. He did 6 or 5, so who knows? But that's the only problem that I've had with the Black Clover manga lately, is that it seems as though Asta is going to do something very predictable, and not even very predictable. Like, he has no business right now. If this series is going to go for the distance, and this is like the biggest villain of all of it, and he's tricked a lot of people, Asta has no business being a part of, like, especially doing something that everybody else can't do. And I also want to throw in there real quick, Yami and Charlotte were looking a little cozy in there, or Elf Charlotte, I think it was still Elf Charlotte. Just had to throw that in there, because I've been missing me some Yami, and we finally got a little bit of him, and he's just chilling in there, looking like, death is coming my way, fuck it, like, gotta love Yami. But I'm kind of curious what you guys think about all this. First of all, my complaints regarding the quote-unquote cheat code with Asta being able to use his anti-magic sword against the devil. And if he takes out the devil, I am gonna lie, like, I really hope that it comes to a point where Asta's sword is useless against this guy. I don't want Asta to be able to really, because where's the fun in it? What's the threat if this kid, where's the goal? Like, at this point, it starts looking like he's really the gifted one and not the hard worker. So I want something to change with that, I'll be honest with you. But do you think differently? Maybe you see what I guess the ultimate goal is with it. I'm curious to hear that. Also, what do you think about just all of it, between the flashback, Lumiere, the first Wizard King? Do you agree that Nero deserves more recognition for what she's done? I mean, again, she was very pivotal in stopping Lit, and, you know, she stood 500 years. That's a ride or die. Any woman that will stay and wait for you for 500 years, mwah, I'll marry that woman. And your overall thoughts and expectations, Black Clover greatness, baby. There is a complaint, and that's what I gotta do. I'm not gonna stress it, because Black Clover been on fire lately, but it really would be lackluster, and I'm not gonna count my chickens yet. But Asta, again, I just feel as though if it's done more so, like, let's just say the end of the Boruto movie, how Boruto has just a small part in the end of helping to trick the villain, and that's how they take him down, cool. But I don't want Asta to be able to do what, again, Lumiere, the first Wizard King, is here. How is Asta outshining him? I hope not. And just, yo, with those sad moments, Lumiere's reunion with Lit and Patri, just so many great moments. Black Clover right now, absolutely on fire, but I gotta call it as I see it, and it feels as though that's a cheat code, and don't do it, Tabata, come on, bro. Oh, and lastly, again, hopefully we've evaded the Minato thing, because Lumiere seems to have no knowledge of who these kids are. Again, maybe he's their uncle or something. Change it up a little bit. Come on, we can't do that fourth Hokage shit again. Stop it. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit the bell to get all notifications. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links, of course, in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. Can't forget the music, though. Hold on, let me play y'all a little something.
Make sure your next move is your best move. Feeling smart, I guess less. But always remember, no matter the weather, I was October through to September. Whenever you need it, whatever you needed. Every girl hated is how you were treated.